I believe this is what a lot of the ancient cultures were all about as well. I believe this is what a lot of the temples in Egypt were all about. They were to teach people how to access this field, how to access this energy. You can do it through meditation, by the emotions that you put in your heart. You can access the field. The field will talk back to you through your intuition. You know, we're all talking to the field all day electromagnetically through our heart, through our emotional state, and that's a lot of why they like to keep us in fear, because that helps create this reality. Because it's kind of complicated. It really is. I mean, I'd probably need to formulate some sort of a talk to explain it properly, but
Mm.
essentially we do all connect. We all do talk to the surrounding energy field all day through our emotions and through our heart. And I can go in meditation and access that and sort of access the field. And that's just what I do. I can't really explain how I do it.
Mm.
All I can say is you go there. You know that that's what reality is, and you go there. It's really that simple. I
I
find
mean, for me, sorry there. For me, um, I the more you sort of like trust your intuition, the more you use it, it becomes almost like a muscle that it becomes much more in connection with it.
well, it does. It does. And a lot of people will try particular methods to get to certain places in meditation. But yeah, essentially what they're doing is they're convincing themselves that it's real. If I try this method, then I'll get to this certain place. But
Yeah,
they just have to know that it is real. I don't have to use any method. I just know that it's there. It's a knowing. When you know it, you can't unknow it. And when you want to go there, you just go there. I mean, to me, that's what I do. It's just a knowing. It's a deeper knowing. It's an understanding. I don't know how else to explain it, really.
so I mean, there are different scholars that talk about that level, that part of that place for knowledge is beyond the brain, beyond intellect. It's almost in a heart chakra or a soul chakra,
Well, it's
or is it not?
well, I believe everything, every moment that ever existed, every thought that's ever been uttered by anybody, all information, all exists as an eternal moment. It's all eternal. There is no time as such. It's all eternity. And every moment is eternal, and every moment exists within the field. There is no time. And you can access all of it. It's just there ready to download all the information that you need. If you look at the work of people such as Bruce Lipton, Dr. Bruce Lipton, I don't know whether you're familiar with his work. He's a cellular biologist, and he's worked out that the membranes of your cells, these are actually like computer chips, and they download a frequency from the surrounding field, and that's where your consciousness lies. It's in the surrounding field. Your body is simply a biological computer that's tuned to one frequency in the field that you experience as Anthony, and I'm tuned to a different frequency in the field that I experience as Max. But you can open yourself up through your emotions and through your chakras and through your heart, the electromagnetic field that comes from your heart, and you can access all the other frequencies. You know what I'm saying? You can access all the
Yeah.
information that exists, and it's all timeless. Every moment is eternal. You can almost think of life as a series of still frames, and your consciousness is running through still frames at light speed, and it's choosing a different path 100 times a second through all of these still frames that are available to it, and all of these possibilities that are available to it, depending on the choices that consciousness makes throughout these moments. That's kind of how life works.
It would be absolutely amazing if we could um, educate our primary school children on the kind of concepts of reality that you've just been talking about. I think we'd see a completely different world instead of the indoctrination and the sort of almost materialism of education leads us down to well, dumbed down and the toxicity within the foods in the air. You know, it is mind-boggling the agenda really.
Well, it's all designed to keep people in left brain. See, all the understandings that I'm talking about, these are all accessible through the right brain. And all of our education is designed to keep us in left brain. When you look at our education system, it's like any consciousness that doesn't involve economics or pulling something out of the earth and turning it into something else, or making money from someone, or hard science, mathematical science, then it's just shunned. It's all got to be mechanical and left brain, everything that we're taught. And that's the only consciousness that's actually acceptable within our society. But there's the whole other side of things. There's so much more to reality if you get into quantum physics, and then you find out that this is what all these shamans have been telling us for years, and this is what's in so many ancient texts. If you want to get religious, this is the sort of thing that Christ was telling people. He was telling people to look within. Now, I'm not religious, but Christ was saying basically follow your heart, and we can create matter ourselves. We can create reality ourselves. And people have never really understood the significance of that. And you look at the measurement problem in physics. You know, they try to measure an atom, and they find that they can't measure it until they actually go to measure it. You know, they find that when they try to measure it, the electrons exist everywhere. They're infinite. They exist everywhere at once. Get your head around that.
Well, that would come to be the act of observation, which brings it into, which is again the consciousness that you were talking about.
Absolutely. You create the atom by observing it, because it doesn't, the electrons don't coalesce to form the atom until the scientist actually goes to measure it. And then it coalesces to form the atom. So he creates the atom by observing it. And it's been documented that if you observe an experiment, it will have a different outcome to that happens when you don't observe it. So you affect the experiment simply by the act of observation. That's why every time we put up a new telescope and we look out into the universe, we want to see how far it goes, we always find something because we're looking. And the more we look, the more we find. And this goes within as well. When you start going within yourself in meditation, you find that, I had a meditation one day where I actually went within my heart. I was kind of sitting within my heart, and I realized that there was a universe that existed between where I was in the center of myself and my outer skin. That was like the edge of the universe, and that all my organs were like superclusters, and all the cells were like galaxies, and all the atoms were like solar systems, and there was this entire universe that existed inside me. And that within the center of every atom of that universe existed another universe. That the trillions and trillions of atoms within my body, I realized that there is a universe at the center of every one of them that's exactly like the universe that I'm sitting in right now. And within my body there are trillions and trillions and trillions upon trillions of countless universes within my body. And that this is the old Egyptian adage of as above, so below. And you realize that conscious exists within a fractal, and it's running through the fractal. And there are a certain group of consciousnesses or energies that are in charge of this planet that know how to control people's perception of reality by influencing their left brain through the scholastic system, through all the chemical compounds that they feed us and everything that they're doing. That they know that if they can control the collective unconscious perception of reality, then they can control reality. And that's what they're doing. And all we have to do is realize that we are all connected, that we are all one, that all moments are eternal, that consciousness exists within a fractal, and that we are literally each other. And we win. The game's over. We return to source. That's all we actually have to do. It really is simple. All you need is love. John Lennon said it, and he was absolutely correct.
It's really that simple. You were just talking about obviously the control of reality, and it'd be a good point to bring in how propaganda, and obviously the biggest business around at the moment is advertising and marketing, how much of an important role that plays, and how intricate the modern day propaganda machine is, working with states and huge corporations, and how they can tap in literally to our lower centres. It would be good for you to basically tell us your view on that.
Well, they do, absolutely. They do it through symbolism, they do it through colours, they do it through repetition, they do it through education again, through peer group pressure. You've got to have the latest this, or you're not you're a lesser person than your neighbours. So all of this sort of stuff, it's all mind control. And they do it to keep us, again, in this reality, to keep us in this energetic state of competition, state of division. He's got more stuff than me. He must be a better person than me. And people get that. The more stuff I've got, the better I am. And so it creates all this class division, a whole lot. And advertising teaches you that your life will be better if you go out and purchase all this stuff that you don't need. And if you have this, then you're going to be a better person and you're going to be happier. And it prevents you from ever looking within yourself and realizing that all the answers that you need all lie within. All of this stuff that they sell you don't need any of it. What you need to do is connect with the people around you. Realize that If you can live your life in a state of unconditional love, follow your dharma. Dharma is incredibly important, and realize what life's all about. Don't be in fear of having less or any of this stuff. I mean, nothing that they sell you in advertising is true, and it's all designed to keep people from discovering that which we were just talking about before, all the stuff that lies within and the connection that we have to each other. That's what it's all about, divide and conquer. All of it is designed to divide, and a lot of it actually operates in levels of higher senses as well. We have a great many higher senses, and they use symbolism to access these higher senses. And we find that we are interacting with certain symbols in realms that we can't perceive, with senses that we don't know we have. This is why they put 5-pointed stars and all these things everywhere. This is why people like, I think it was Bertrand Russell or someone, actually presented the peace sign to the people and said, here's the sign for peace. And all the hippies have been worshipping this peace sign for so long. And you look at the world since they've been doing that, it hasn't got very peaceful. It's actually got a lot worse. And then you look up the peace sign and you find that it's actually the death rune. It represents a cross upside down with the arms broken. So has the world gotten any better from people worshipping this peace sign? All of these sorts of things. There's all these occult rituals and all of these things that are going on in the background, and advertising is a big part of it. And this is all stuff that affects the left brain, affects the higher senses, and keeps consciousness locked into this reality, because we give our attention to these things instead of to each other.
Yeah, it's sort of an agenda of despiritualization, of separating yourself from your higher self. In terms of when we think about higher self, how does that relate to natural law and the one law that you talk about?
Well, the higher self, if you really want to get into it, I mean, you can go through all different dimensional selves and astral selves and all these things that people go into, but why limit yourself to that? If you really think about it, the highest self of all is the source. The highest self really is what men would call God. Now, through my meditations and what I put out in a film in 2010, I think I put out the final version of it, early in 2010 or late 2009, called The Awakening. If you can understand that every soul in projection is simply a thought in the mind of God. It's like the energy itself, the pure conscious energy that makes up all reality. This is conscious. This is the mind of God. If you can imagine this mind throwing itself into a physical projection and shattering itself into every possible frequency that it could, from a rock to a grain of sand to a shellfish to a cuttlefish to a bird to a human being to a billion human beings, 6 billion human beings, to all the animals, to every leaf, to every tree, and to everything in reality. And everything is conscious. Absolutely everything in reality is conscious, and it all influences each other. Now that is the highest self. That is the highest self to me. And that's what you can access if you can access the field. If you can put yourself in a state of unconditional love, you can access this source. And what I've found is that when I look at people, anybody, anywhere I go, when I look at people, what I do is I see myself. And I give that person love from my heart. From the energy field in my heart, I project love to that person. Doesn't matter who they are, what they are, I project love to them. And the more I do that, the more it opens me up to that higher self, to that divine source. You can literally channel energy in from that divine source, and you can give it to those around you. You can charge the field around you with it, and that's what changes consciousness. That's what changes reality. You talk to people about all this stuff, do it eloquently, do it politely, understand that you are probably interfering with everything that they think is true and real and righteous, and everything that they thought was real about reality. You're challenging all of that. So you've got to do it nicely, do it politely, and just bring the conversation around and open little doorways for them so they can discover things for themselves. Don't try to teach them your way. Open the doorway for them. Be a doorway. And help them, but don't be a doormat. Don't let them take from you. I mean, it's all about service. I often just say to people, follow the path of the heart. Follow the one law. The one law is, as I said, absolute unconditional love and service to the creation for the Creator. And that is by following the path of the heart.